I will tell you one thing it taught me about myself is that I had to develop some patience real quick.
Mm. Tell
Because
me more.
everybody is not the same.
Mm-hmm.
And so the speed that one client works at is not the speed that another client is going to work at.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is what we call a lifestyle.
Hey family, welcome to part 2 of the Psychology of Fitness with a Master Trainer. If you're new to my channel, my name is Peter Gordon and I'm a licensed mental health therapist. I also happen to be a doctoral student working on a doctorate in clinical psychology. I'm also a life and health and wellness coach, and I make videos on mental health, fitness, wellness, and everything I hope can help you to lead your most productive life. And while you're here, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell so that you're notified each time I post a brand new. So welcome to part 2 of the Psychology of Fitness with a Master Trainer. I initially said I was going to have 3 episodes, but I think I'm just going to narrow it down to 1. To be frank with you, I just don't have enough time to do a whole bunch of recording. So I'm going to narrow it down to 2. And I've got a very dear friend of mine, a person who I've admired as a trainer, both from afar and in person. I've seen this man's work, what he's done. But more so, I've admired his psychological approach to training and how he gets clients to sort of embrace what I call the psychologically fit mindset as it relates to fitness. And so without further ado, let me introduce my very, very dear friend, Mr. Derek Burns of Afterburns Fitness. Welcome, brother Derek.
What's up? What's up? What's up? How you doing, man?
Good. And I always get a crack out of your name because there's certain names that fit perfectly into their chosen profession. For example, who would have thought that Usain Bolt would be the fastest man in the world with the name Bolt, right?
Oh, yes,
And
sir.
who would have thought that the man called Burns would be the man that would train you and give you all these burns in your thighs and
That's
everything,
right.
which means
After
you have
burns. After
after Burns.
burns.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes. So, as I did in the last one, really this is about helping people to kind of think about fitness from a psychological standpoint. And I think that, I found, and as a former personal trainer, one of the mistakes I made in the past was just thinking it was just balls to the wall, push them, get them over the hump, and that was it, right? Well, we realized that a lot of people either relapse, if you will, or they just fall off. And so that is the essence of this like sort of brief interview to kind of help people get insight into the psychology of fitness, as you will, if you will. So, but before I get into that, let's introduce you to the audience. Tell me a little bit about your fitness journey and what led you down the path to becoming a personal trainer.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to introduce my business. I am the owner and head trainer of Afterburns Sports and Performance.
Mm-hmm.
What we believe results drive motivation. I've been in business for myself for now 17 years. Been training for about 19 years. I've been coaching people for about 19 years. So that's the basics of it. I train out of Northern Virginia, specifically Chantilly, Virginia, at a gym called Optimum Sports and Performance. Brand new gym, beautiful facility. You've been there before.
Mm-hmm.
So my fitness journey began as a young man.
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing football all my life. I've been an athlete all of my life. Played football up to the semi-pro level. When I started having kids, that's when I stopped playing football.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
had to be around for my kids. So I remember I was working in the IT field for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I was working for MCI WorldCom. Right before they had that big scandal with the MCI WorldCom, and then I went and worked for another company called GIAC. Well, I'm thinking about in the year of 2007,
Mm-hmm.
it was November, December, and I had to take care of kids. So I've always been one to work out. I was working out at Lifetime Fitness at the time in Centerville. So I got laid off. I got laid off from that job. And believe me, getting laid off at a time of November, December, have to buy Christmas presents and things like that. For a man such as myself, who pride myself in taking care of his kids and being a great father,
Mm-hmm.
it was very heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at who I have to take care of, and, you know, where my money goes, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I walked out of there that day and I said to myself, I'm never going to put my future in another man's hand.
Mm-hmm.
And from that point on, that's when I started training at Lifetime Fitness. In fact, they approached me about it.
Mm-hmm.
And when they approached me about it, I thought about it. I was already in IT making some good money. I was like, well, I don't need to train, right? But I like to. I loved it. I loved training. I loved working out. But I love more so the sciences behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took them up on the offer, got me a certification. I started training at Lifetime Fitness. Got 25 clients in less than a month.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't like the gym environment and how people became a number. So I said, I can do a lot better on my own. And then I left Lifetime Fitness.
What do you
And
mean?
that's when,
Let me stop you there. What do you mean by a number? Like when you say they treat him like a number, what do you mean by that?
well, I mean, it's a business, right? I mean, a gym is a business environment. You make money, the bulk of your money from personal training, of course, and memberships, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you have a lot of people in the gym that only go for a certain amount of months and they fall off, right? And we call them, at Lifetime, they call them non-usage members, meaning they never used the gym, but they were still paying a membership.
I see.
Right. So then we had to, try to ignite the fire back in those people to come back to the gym. Well, gyms make a lot of money off of non-usage clients. Right. And also, personal training. I didn't think I had the freedom to exhaust all the sciences to help my clients. Right. They only put you in a bottle where you can only train that person. You couldn't explore nutrition. You couldn't explore the psychological side of it. They had these professionals they hired to do it, right? But even to them professionals, they were numbers. They were it's like a conveyor belt. They would get them in, put numbers in the program and spit a program out, and that was it. There was no
there was no relationship that was created.
No relationship that was built because of it. And I think that's a large part of training and coaching. It's the personable side of it. So I left and my company was called Fitness Forever at the time. I started off with another name. And my tagline was Fitness Forever, Results Now. And so I started that company. First year, loved it. Amassed a lot of clients, were very successful in my first year of training, and voila, 17 years later, man, I had to change my name to Afterburns, Fitness and Performance.
Yeah.
And so, I've been loving it, man, loving the journey, loving just being who I am and with the relationships I have amassed over the years. So I love it.
Okay. So that being said, what has this journey taught you about yourself?
Well, I mean, I think it's many facets. You grow as you stay in a certain profession for a lot of years, especially one so personable as this one. I will tell you one thing it taught me about myself is that I had to develop some patience real quick. Because everybody is not the same. And so the speed that one client works at is not the speed that another client is going to work at. And so this is what we call a lifestyle. Everybody use that. But, having the patience to really believe that is different, right? Because you want things to happen quick. You want to be the trainer that gives people results in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, right? So you want to be that trainer that can do turnovers fast, real fast. Yeah. And I had to learn that I had to have patience. Second, I learned to stop chasing money and chase people.
What does that mean? What do you mean chase money? What do you mean chase money and stop chasing money?
I say stop chasing money and chasing people. I had to hone my skills on how I deal with people, right? Not just to make money or get the bag, like people say. I had to really hone my skills on how I relate to people and how to listen. It's a lot of things. We have so much knowledge that we forget to listen to our clients. And so I had to do that. I had to have patience and then learn really how to deal with and, help people where they are. And so that had to be, you had to dive deep, ask people questions that maybe you're not comfortable with sometimes. So, I've learned that over time is that, it's a very deep relationship. But within myself, as I help people grow, I have to grow at the same respect, not only in my craft, right, but in my character and in my relationship skills. In my relationship skills with people. So though I think those are two of the biggest things. I mean, I can go on about lessons, man, because we have a lot of lessons we learn, in this field. But I think patience and really I have to grow at the same time. I expect people to grow. So
yeah. Gotcha. So it was almost like you recognized that the one thing you had before was probably a lack of patience, and the ability to relate to others. And what you've realized, which kind of answers my other question, which is what has evolved in your training over the years is big thing is patience.
Big time. Not only patience, in my expectations of people, right? But I think my patience in knowing the sciences, that's the foundation, right? The sciences don't change. So knowing the sciences, but applying them to everybody differently, because everybody is different. So I had to learn the sciences, but how you apply them could be different from person to person. There's no cookie cutter method to this thing, called wellness, called fitness. And so you had to get as much information as you can from a person, from assessments and talking and just relating to that person. And then you have to apply the sciences according to a person's, mindset and the person's lifestyle.
It's very tailored.
You have to. And that's what's so specific about what I love about this, is because it keeps us on our toes as coaches and trainers, because everybody that comes to us is a different client. It's new every time somebody comes in our presence, and things are not the same. And so I've learned how to do that. And I think I've evolved from a personal trainer to more of a coach. The coaching is different from training, right?
It is, indeed.
Training is just the aspect of the physical side of it. Coaching, you got to deal with the spiritual, you got to deal with the mental, you got to deal with the physical, and everything that comes with that. Everything that comes with that, which is a person's entire life. And so you have to learn how to evolve, just from being a personal trainer to really a coach.
Right.
I can still use my skills as a trainer and still be a trainer.
Yeah.
But at some point, I'm gonna have to kick into a coach. I'm gonna have to kick into the coaching side of it, coaching people through nutrition, coaching people through having the right mindset, coaching people through writing program design and setting rep schemes and things like that, and whatever protocols I'm going to use to help a person reach their goals. And so you have to evolve.
It sounds very much like in psychology, we call it a psychodynamic approach, right? Which is, it's very easy for someone to come in, sit down in front of you and talk and you go, oh, let's work on these things and improve this and da. But there's another thing to take a psychodynamic approach, which is something that I had to, quite frankly, relearn, not from having a license as a therapist into pursuing this doctorate in clinical psychology, which is a psychodynamic approach, which is now looking at the entirety of the person. And it sounds like that's what you've evolved into. Your training has evolved into more of a whole picture type of a setting.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
So this leads me to my next question now. So from your vantage point, right, from where you stand for all these 17 years, and that's a lot of years, man, right? Yeah. From your vantage point, why do you think some people are successful in their fitness journeys while others fail? In essence, like, what separates them psychologically?
Well, I think once people look at the amount of work that it takes to put into it, I think either you're gonna go one way or the other. Either you're gonna do it or you don't. I think that's what it boils down to. Anything worth having in life is going to be a challenge. It's going to have obstacles. It's going to be hard. It's easy for me to sit down, and be sedentary, right? That's the easy thing to do. But the hard thing to do is to get up day in and day out, and change habits, change the way I do things. We all know the definition of insanity is to do the same things the same way all of the time and expect different results, right? That just is not logical. It's not even common sense. And so to get a person to change their entire lifestyle, especially their mental aspect of looking at themselves and what it's going to take to change, I think that's the hardest piece. It's really when people see the work that's going to take, right? I think a lot of them back down,
Mhm.
right? They get in these molds or this way of life that's comfortable, and they don't want to be uncomfortable. Man, the body doesn't want to be uncomfortable.
Right.
So when people get into a comfortable state, they tend to stay there.
Right. It's
So I
almost
think it just boils down to a person either accepting what's going to have to happen to make the change,
yeah,
or not.
or they're
Even
not.
if they
Yeah.
pay, you still got to go through that, right?
Yeah. So there's a choice component. There's a book, and it's an old book, but it's called The Road Less Traveled, and it's written by this
Yeah,
psychiatrist. And he mentioned notion of delayed gratification, right? Like it's very easy. Most of us will accept the thing that gives us the most pleasure first,
that's
right?
right.
And he was describing how he worked with this particular individual, how they complained about how tough their job was and how they had they just couldn't connect to doing the work all the time. And he asked, well, what part of the job do you enjoy the most? And they would say XYZ. Which part did you not enjoy? This bit right here. And then they said, well, which part do you do first? Naturally, they go to the part that they most enjoy first.
Sure.
And then the part that they hate, they just sort of drag themselves to it. And the thing he said was, perhaps you need to switch the mindset and start with the thing that's the hardest.
Yes, sir.
Get it done, and then delay the gratification so that when you finish this bit here, you can get into the easy part, which is to live your life, a certain way, right?
Yes, sir.
Does that sound in line with what you're saying?
Of course. Like you said, people get comfortable, right?
Mhm.
And it's easy to do the things that's easy, that you're used to, that you're comfortable in. That's the norm, especially the type of society we live in today. Delayed gratification is not a popular word. It's not a popular phrase, right? To know that I have to put in all this work now and expect the fruits of my labor later. So that's not a popular thing, a mindset amongst most people. And I won't even just blame it on the young people, right? Because I think our generation have to accept some responsibility in that, because we didn't teach that good enough.
Well, we weren't taught either.
No, I was taught.
No, okay.
I gotta give the props to my parents. Now I had to work for whatever I wanted. They didn't give me stuff. I had to buy my own car, and I had to do things the hard way. You know what I'm saying? But they taught me the benefits of the process. Is that the strength and the learning does not come in the beginning and the ending, from the start and the destination, but it comes in the process. You grow in the wilderness. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You enjoy the fruits, but you grow while you're trying to get them.
Indeed.
You got to till the soil. You got to plant a seed. You got to till the soil. You got to fertilize it. That's the process that we have to go through. Right. And none of us want to go through those processes in this day and age. And we want we want immediate gratification instead of delayed gratification.
I see. So that being said, do you think and it sounds, and I asked it, and people this always comes off like an oxymoronic question, like one that doesn't make sense. The fact is, to exercise is physical movement, right? To lose weight, you have to do physical things, right?
Yes.
That being said, though, do you think physical effort is more important than mindset, or does having the right mindset far outweigh the physical effort when that one puts in to achieve their fitness journey?
I think it's equal.
Okay, tell me more.
I think one does not supersede the other.
Okay.
I think you have to have the right mindset, of course, right?
Okay.
Motivation is a mindset. Discipline is a mindset.
Right.
All that stuff, all those fancy words that we use, discipline, focus, all those are mindsets. That has nothing to do with your physical prowess or how you work. What it has to do with is what you think and how you perceive what you're about to do, right? It has everything to do with that. It has nothing to do with the work that you have to put in. Motivation does not stay around long. Right. You and I know that motivation does not stay around long. It comes and it goes, right?
Yeah.
But it's the discipline that has to be developed to stay around long. It's that commitment that has to be developed. And so those things are mindsets, right? The work has to follow, of course, but I think it's equal. It's on a balanced scale. Right. I don't think one supersedes the other. You have to put in just as much work as you have to get your mindset right. And as a matter of fact, at every stage of working, your mindset has to change. It has to grow, right? because you can hit a plateau.
Mm-hmm.
You can adapt to whatever you're doing and don't know how to come out of it. You got to have that mindset to stay in the game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So at every stage of your journey, of these journeys, when I tell my clients, I say, you're going to grow through this. I say, it's going to grow mentally, you're going to grow spiritually, you're going to grow physically. I say, we both going to do some growing, because listen, you're going to hit a plateau. My job is to coach you out of that plateau. Not only coach you, but teach you while I'm coaching you, is that when you come to it, a plateau, listen, if people view plateaus different, they won't see it as such a negative thing.
What do you mean?
Right?
Tell me more about that.
This is what I mean. When your body adapts, that means it has gotten better.
I see.
For instance, when you first start working out, your body uses 100% of your muscle fiber, right? Then as weeks go by, it may use 90%, it may use 85%, it may use 70%. So the work that has to be put in to do a certain movement, you get stronger at, because your body does not have to use as much muscle fiber.
I see.
To use that weight, or as much stabilization, whatever it takes to move that weight around. You get stronger, right? That leads you to adaptation. That leads you to a plateau. That's all plateau is adaptation.
I see.
Is your body adapting to a movement, or your body adapting to a certain way of living, or your body adapting to, a certain amount of calories. You got metabolic adaptation, which is your metabolism downgrading, or it's adapting to the amount of calories that's inputted, right? Or it upgrades itself, or it downgrades itself. It adjusts. Your body will adjust to what you put it through.
Gotcha.
Right? And you'll have neuromuscular adaptation.
Right.
Your muscles is adapting to the movement that you have to do. So a plateau can be looked at as a positive thing. It just shows you that you've gotten better. Now, coming out of it takes a different mindset. Meaning I might have to pivot and go right, or pivot and go left to come out of it. A lot of people hit that wall and they don't know what they're doing.
I see.
They don't know how to come out of it. They don't know how to change your mindset to come out of it. And so for every stage of this journey, you have to have a different mindset.
Right.
And you have to have a different different way of working. You have to be a little bit more motivated, a little bit more disciplined to push through those obstacles.
I see.
And so I think it's a positive thing when you look at a person plateau. I say, oh, good. Now it's time to change, buddy. Let's go.
Yeah. So it's
Let's go.
So at the end of the day, for you, both work together. One is
they have to.
One doesn't supersede the other.
One does not supersede the other.
Okay. Got it.
It's 100.
100. Got it.
Yes.
So that being said, I'm gonna wind it down to this last little question here now, which is always a good one. What are 3 things from a psychological standpoint? I think I heard a couple, but I want to have them be put in your words. Okay. What are 3 things you think one can do from a psychological standpoint that will help them to meet their goals? Or what are 3 mindset things one needs to have to reach fitness goals?
I think, first of all, you got to define what your goal is.
Okay.
Right.
So you have a clear understanding of your goal. That's
right. You got to have a clear understanding of what you want to do. It may not be all of what you need to do.
Yeah.
But at the time, it's what you want to do. Right. Like a person may need to get his cardiovascular, come off high blood pressure medication, whatever it may be. You need to have a clear understanding of what I need or what I want to do. Everybody knows what they want to do, but sometimes they don't know what they need to do.
Got it.
You see what I'm saying? So you have to have, for one, I think, develop a clear understanding of what I need to get done. Clear, understand it, right? Don't be all over the place with what your initial goals may be. That might not be all of your goals, but that's the initial goal. So let's get a clear understanding of where we need to start.
So that's number one.
Yeah. That's number one. So once you have a clear understanding, then you need to seek out how to get there. What's my roadmap?
Gotcha.
What is the first thing I'm going to have to do? And so you may need to seek professional help.
So a clear understanding. So clear understanding of what you want. Then you need to figure out. Second thing you need to have in mind is, how am I going to get there?
How am I going to get there? And look, I never said anything about working. You remember, I never said anything about lifting weights. I never said anything about running. I didn't say go walk first, which most coaches going to tell you, well, just get out, go get busy, get active. I'm not saying that. Everything has to do right here. Have a clear understanding. And then you have to find out how to get there. Right?
Got it.
A mission and a vision goes together. You can have a vision, but with no mission behind it, it's just a thought.
Right. Indeed.
So you have to have a clear understanding, and then you have to find out how to get there. Once you find out how to get there, one step at a time. Preparation.
Mm-hmm.
You take one step at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And focus on that step. In order to get to the top of a staircase, what you have to do?
One step
at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think people have the patience enough with themselves,
mm-hmm.
and then the patience enough with the process to do that. That's why they fail, because they look at one step, but when they look up the whole staircase, they say, "Wow, I got to walk way up there just to get to where I want to go." Yeah. Yes, you do.
Yes, you
do. So clear understanding, right? Map out the process. You got to find out how to do it, right? And then take it one step at a time.
Got it.
One step at a time.
Good.
And so that's the three things I would say do. And like I said, you may have to consult a professional. Come to me. I'm if not the best, I'm one of the best in Northern Virginia.
Indeed.
I would tell you that. My work speaks for itself.
And I would vouch for that too.
That's right. I'm one of the best. My work speaks for itself. It speaks for itself. The body is my canvas. It is. And that's where my expertise comes in at. I can get you results. If you follow the program, I'll give you clear, concise. We'll fine tune your goals. I'll give you a roadmap on how to get there. And I won't only give it to you. I'll tell you why every step matters.
Indeed.
I'll give you a why every step matters. You may not like the why, but I'm gonna give it to you.
Yeah.
Right.
And I can vouch for that because I've seen you in action, if you will.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. So, and we share information. I've learned a lot from you. And one thing about it is, Peter, I'm not afraid to come to you. I call you all the time. Man, I don't know about this. I need your expertise, or whoever God puts in my way to really in my life that I can learn from, or I can use to help another person.
Yeah,
I don't mind, and I believe that's why I've been so successful, because I'm humble enough to say I don't know.
You don't know. Yeah. It's like the line I use is I know enough to know that I don't know enough.
That's right. That's right, man.
That being said, we're going to wind down here and I always like to make sure we give my plugs so people can find you, right?
Yes, sir.
Tell me your IG. Tell the folks your IG and I'll put.
So my IG is The Real Afterburns.
The Real Afterburns.
Okay.
One word.
The Real Afterburns. There's another account that was hacked.
Yeah.
I had about 2,000 followers. You'll see my picture on there. But the account, my new account is The Real Afterburns.
The Real Afterburns, one word.
That's
right. I'll put the name below there. So,
that's right, at The Real Afterburns. And then you'll see me. The website is www.theafterburns. Theafterburns.com. That's right.
Theafterburns.com.
The Afterburns. That's right.
And then do you provide any online training?
I do online. I do in person. I do nutrition coaching. So online, which you get a whole program. Right. I do supplement advice. I give nutrition coaching and preparation. So it's not only, my whole thing is education. I do a lot of education. I try to tell you what I know. I don't hold back information. So you just got to come to me. I believe the more you do, when you know better, you do better. Yeah. It makes my job easier the more you know. And I write the whole program design for 4 weeks at a time. I only do 12-week programs. I don't do no 80-day. No 2 days to full fitness. I don't do 8 hours programs, and I don't do none of that fast stuff. If you want to learn a lifestyle and how to do it, all my online programs are only 12-week programs. If you come in person to me, you're going to sign up with me from 3 to 6 months upfront.
Got it. Perfect.
Because it's a lifestyle. You have to give me time to work my magic.
Got it. So I'll make sure all the links are provided to my good friend here. Again, this is the good brother Derek Burns. He's based out of Northern Virginia, in Chantilly, Virginia, to be exact, at Optimum Fitness. Sir. And you can find him at IG at The Real Afterburns, and on the World Wide Web at theafterburns.com. And of course, I'll put all the links there. Mr. Burns, I appreciate you, man. I love you, and thank you so much again.
Yes, sir.
All right. Stay blessed.
Y'all have a good day. You too.
Hey, hopefully you enjoyed that interview. But before you go, don't forget to check out some of my other videos by clicking any one of these 2 boxes right here. Or if you want to, or also don't forget to subscribe by clicking my big face right there. Stay well, family.